Back. We took a little break last week, a little bye week. We are back. I am Kaiser Solsay. To the right of me is the angry black fan, Mr. Jamal Darby. How you doing?
What's going on, man? You all right over there?
Yeah, man, we chilling, man. We can't do it. The studio is down for just a little bit, but we'll be back up and running here soon. Hopefully by let's see what's a big game. Well, actually, the first game of the season is a big game. It's Atlanta Falcons. I mean,
I may be in the house for that one, man. I'm trying to decide now, man. I might be in the house for that one, man. So.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. That's I can't remember the last time I saw two back to back or two out of the three first games being against division opponents.
I don't know if I like that. But.
I don't like that either. I don't like it either. Those are big games, and you really kind of have to win those games,
right?
And fortunately, I think the good thing for the Panthers is that I don't think there's any clear runaway team in the division this year.
Nah.
I mean, all the smart pundits, the pros, they're going to pick the Saints because they have Derek Carr. Otherwise, I don't think they're that much better than the Panthers top to bottom. So it'll be interesting first 3 weeks.
Yeah, no doubt.
But speaking of 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks has been preseason football. And I'll give NFL preseason a little bit more credence than
the NBA
Summer League. Actually, not a little bit, a lot, because I feel like Summer League is just a glorified gym run.
Right.
Whereas preseason actually is when teams are evaluating players. They're trying out, new offenses. They're doing all kinds of, stuff there. So it was very interesting to see the evolution of the Panthers just in these past 3 weeks. You remember after week 1, people were mad.
Yeah.
Panthers are trash. Everything's trash. And then even though they lost, on Friday's game, I think people are okay with at least with the offense, or rather Bryce Young and his weapons. The offensive line still needs a lot of work, and I think the defense as a whole does too. We'll talk about that some, but the Panthers ended up losing 26-17. But I feel like they won the part of the game that counted when the ones were on the field.
Right.
I felt like they outplayed the Lions there, and Bryce Young looked cool, calm, and collected out there. Your thoughts, Jamal?
No, it's same thing, man. And starting with the Lions game, just looking at the starting unit out there, and it's important to know we still didn't have all the ones out there. Brian Burns is not going to play out there, which is completely understandable, man.
Right.
And that's exactly what I was looking at, because in your last preseason game, those last the last half of that football game, it doesn't even matter. Let's just call a spade a spade. It doesn't even matter, man. So I do like what I saw with Bryce Young. I saw that the playbook it was still pretty vanilla, but maybe not as vanilla, if that makes any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Young looked, like you said, he looked cool, calm, and collected in the pocket, man. He looked a lot more comfortable. The offensive line did a slightly better job, and I do mean slightly, all right? Enough for him to at least throw his first touchdown pass of the preseason. So I thought the offense clicked a lot better than it looked in the previous 2 games, man. And that's what matters. And, even with that being said, I still take the last game with a grain of salt. It's not going to get me super excited about the season because the first guy scored against the Lions.
Right, yeah.
It's not like, oh, yeah, here comes the Super Bowl now. You know what I mean? It's like they executed better than they did the rest of preseason, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, you're right. You do have to put things in perspective in the preseason. Like you said, a lot of the ones still weren't out there.
Yeah.
That are going to be playing week 1. Some real impact players, difference makers. I do think, however, 2 things are clear: that the offensive line is still going to be a problem, and Bryce Young is going to have to find his way, find out how to navigate around that. And I think the run defense is still suspect. the Panthers cannot stop the run. They haven't been able to do it for the past 2 seasons, and I didn't see anything in preseason to lead me to believe that had changed. Now, Detroit only rushed the ball 26 times for 83 yards and a touchdown. The Panthers would have about equaled that, but Matt Corral did have a pretty long run, I think, for 25, 26 yards that kind of padded the total. But I think if you look at the preseason as a whole, the two biggest weaknesses of the Panthers of the last few seasons, offensive line and run defense.
Right.
They got to be better during the regular season.
Yeah, and hopefully there will be. But, we've made a lot of mention about how, these guys are going to have to adjust to the new 3-4 defense, man. And I don't think it's too early to, quote, worry about that, quite honestly, man, because it was a concern even way before the preseason even started. You understand what I'm saying? So, and from the first initial impressions, even if it is a preseason, it should be a concern. Now, who's to say that Justin Houston and Deion Jones won't come to the rescue when it comes in the regular season? We don't know how valuable those pickups are just yet. If they're valuable at all, we don't know. I'm not saying that they are going to come to the rescue. But we just don't know.
That's kind of why I wish they had played during the preseason. I understand that a lot of times your vets are going to sit and they're not going to get extended snaps or whatever. That's fine. But you try to tell me you can't get 1 or 2 series out of Justin Houston, even if he's out there mailing it in. I just kind of feel like, I'm not a big fan of letting all the vets sit. I really think that the third game, especially since now you have a bye week, should be the dress rehearsal.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'll say this: Friday's game did not feel like the dress rehearsal game like we normally see. And I know teams are trying to change that because there's a longer season now.
So let me interrupt you. Here comes an unpopular opinion. See, this is why you may need a 4th preseason game. This is exactly why you may need this. See, you know what I mean? Because now coaches are kind of like scrambling to try to. I mean, there's a lot to do in the preseason. You understand what I'm saying? You got to evaluate the guys you're going to keep. You're evaluating the guys you're going to cut. You're evaluating, the guys that you already have. And you're trying to fit all this in the 3 preseason games. Maybe this is why the 4th one actually matters. So,
it's like, would you rather have a 4th preseason game or essentially another week of prep / practices? I think some coaches would prefer an extra week of prep between preseason and regular season. I think some coaches would rather have that game time action. I think Frank Reich is the kind of guy where he wants that extra week of prep, especially. I read something recently about Frank Reich. By the way, those of you, if you guys have never looked up why your team sucks, every year, just Google why your team sucks, and every year before the season starts, for every team, they'll tell you why your team sucks, and they're pretty accurate. They're pretty on point with the Carolina Panthers this season. A few things they missed. But one of the things they said was they were very critical of the Frank Reich hire. They felt this is a dead horse, and we talked about it months ago, but they felt like, Wilkes was, hey, he's right there in front of you. And they went for Frank Reich. And they mentioned that Frank Reich is known throughout the league to have overly complex offensive playbooks. It says he has too many route combinations. Players typically complain about having to learn all the nuances of his complicated offenses. Right. So I think with a coach like Frank Reich, an extra week off is probably pivotal to their success because that's an extra week. Bryce Young and his receiver core and the O-line can dig into those complex playbooks because I'm sure when the season starts, we are not going to get these vanilla offenses.
Right. Now, my counterpoint to that, and listen, I can see the point, but my counterpoint to that is maybe that's why a quarterback like Bryce Young is that much more important, because the narrative on Bryce Young is how smart he is and how quickly he processes information. So maybe he's the perfect fit for Frank Reich. And I may be being overly optimistic when I say that, but however, with the narrative of Frank Reich having these overly complex playbooks and plays and things of that nature, and you having Bryce Young, who's with the narrative of him being such a quick processor of information, maybe that's a good marriage. We'll see. That remains to be seen. Now, one thing I didn't really talk about, and something that was kind of a minor concern of mine, and this is actually pretty funny to me too, man. Our boy Teddy Bridgewater, he marched right down the field on a lot of those number ones a couple of times, man, and just kind of goes back to a bit of concern about this 3-4 defense and how comfortable everybody else was. Now, again, we didn't have a lot of impact guys, all right, but we had enough guys out there that I thought that maybe Teddy Bridgewater shouldn't have marched down the field with the.
I think Teddy was trying to prove something. You know, we gave Teddy a lot of shit when he was here. And I feel like every team, you know, he goes to now, he's gonna have that chip on the shoulder, particularly against his old team. So Teddy balled out last night. He did some Teddy stuff, but 13 for 22 for 178. He played a lot of snaps, whereas Bryce Young only threw the ball 7 times, 7 for 12 for 73 yards and a touchdown. Let me say this about Bryce Young. I've been watching football since I was a young pup, and I've been a Panthers fan since day one. And I'm trying to remember the last time I saw a rookie quarterback look so not rattled,
right,
being out there. Now, granted, it's only preseason, but the O-line was still collapsing. They were in midseason form, all preseason.
Yeah,
and the pockets collapsing around him, and he just. He just Bryce Young. He sees the field. He either makes the correct play or he tries to make a good throw, and he might take a hit or something to that effect. But I haven't seen him make a bad decision yet. Now he will. When the season comes, teams are gonna be like, okay, that's a rookie quarterback. They're gonna send heat at him. They're gonna throw complex looks at him, and that's where we're gonna see the real Bryce Young. But I will say he just looks so calm. Even Cam Newton, who had maybe the best, first game as a rookie in NFL history. He had some moments and where you could tell that, he was the big time and he was kind of blinded by the lights. I don't see that in Bryce Young. I think his biggest challenges will be, as was said in the chat, we don't have a true number one receiver. O-line still sucks.
Yeah, and not only just the fact that he seems to be so cool, man. I like his temperament. And I like the fact that, I don't like the fact that he's getting hit, but I do like the fact that he gets right up, and it seems like he's always in next play mode. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Regardless of what happens, it seems like his temperament is always pretty even. Now, again, it is preseason, man. We're not seeing these complex schemes being thrown at him. But even at Alabama, man, like he was always kind of praised for the type of leadership style where he stays cool when things are not going so well, man. I think that's really, really important for a rookie guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to gain respect from the veterans, as a rookie quarterback, man. So I'm excited to see that part of it.
Yeah, because at some point he's going to be the team leader.
Right.
He's the quarterback, right? He drives the car, so I think he still has to earn that respect that will come with winning one and remaining calm in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for Bryce Young. I don't have high expectations across the board for the Panthers, although I do think they have an opportunity here that they didn't really have last season, or that they had late last season. They have an opportunity. If they play like they played last season and shore up some of the deficiencies, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
If the changes that were made to the team were too much, that is my only fear. Like going from a 4-3 to a 3-4, some major personnel changes, coaching staff changes. If those changes were too much, then I think the Panthers could be in some trouble.
Yeah. That's tough, man, because I hate to beat a dead horse and go back to the whole Steve Wilkes thing, man, which is one of the, and one of the criticisms we we mentioned with Steve Wilkes is that you already have familiarity. You know what I mean? You had a guy there who you didn't have to change much, and there seems to be positive momentum. And the risk involved with going this route and doing this whole just entire turnover of the roster and the whole entire turnover of the coaching staff is that now you have guys just trying to get used to all the changes, man, including your rookie quarterback. And, I hope the preseason was enough time, which I don't think it was, quite honestly, but I'm hoping the preseason was just enough time for everybody to get familiar with the system and with each other and the timing and all that stuff that you need to be a successful football team. And, if I had to make an early prediction, man, there's going to be highs and lows this season. You understand what I'm saying? It from everybody, from Bryce Young, from the team, from the defense, because it's all new.
Yeah.
So I just think we're going to have a very up and down season.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer Drell's question, are we good at running back? That's a very interesting one. Maurice Jones, was it Maurice Jones-Drew rated Miles Sanders 30th in the league out of all start? It's weird. It's like this guy was 8th in yards last season with the Eagles, and then he comes to the Panthers, and suddenly he's 30th worst in the league.
Really? Okay, I don't know about that one, man.
So yeah, I think we're okay with. I would have loved to see Donta Foreman stay because I felt like he brought like a spark to the team. But I mean, Miles Sanders, that's a really good pickup no matter how you slice it. And I feel like with him and Chuba, you have a pretty solid 1-2 punch with a better passing game than you've had since
a long time.
Yeah, probably since 2018. I think we're okay at running back. I would have liked to have seen more of them during the preseason. We didn't see any Miles Sanders or Chuba yesterday. In fact, the Panthers only ran the ball 26 times in Friday's game. So again, it's hard to evaluate based on preseason what we look like at running back. I would have liked to have seen more.
Let me preface my statement by saying this. I don't really believe this to be 100% true, but rumor has it that the Panthers are the leading team to land Jonathan Taylor. Hey, look, if that happens, hey, awesome. I don't know how they'll pull that off, quite honestly, but that was a report that I did see from a pretty credible source. I will say that. I just don't know how they would pull it off. I'll keep it that simple. But if they do, fine. But to answer the original question, I think we're okay. I think we're fine. I think we somehow made it work with Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. I think we can make it work with Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. So
Jonathan Taylor, although that would be awesome, but I mean, we made a big move to get Miles Sanders,
right?
And then we get Jonathan Taylor. Like,
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Yeah. So I think that we're good rolling with Taylor. JG makes a good point, though. The difference in the O-line between Philadelphia and Carolina is night and day.
It is.
How much of a difference would that make? But, I mean, Christian McCaffrey ran fine behind this probably a worse O-line. I think Miles Sanders would be okay.
But I think it's a fine line with the Panthers when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking on top of that.
That's true. That's
for whatever reason, I think we're significantly better in run blocking than we are pass blocking.
Absolutely.
So I think we'll be fine with the running game,
man. So piggyback on that question, if we're good at running back, are we good at quarterback outside of Bryce Young? We saw Andy Dalton, Jake Luton, and Matt Corral play Friday. And none of them look very good. They just all look super garbage, which was it was a very odd juxtaposition between Bryce Young, who looked accurate, calm, collected against the ones, and then you have Andy Dalton coming against the twos and immediately throws a pick. You have Matt Corral running for his life. Old Jake throwing picks. I mean, all right, consider this. All right, consider this. This is all of the Panthers quarterbacks had the same amount of pass attempts, 12, except Andy Dalton had 11.
Right.
Bryce Young's passer rating was 103.8. The next highest was Matt Corral at 47.9. Wow. Andy Dalton, 32.4. Jake Luton, 34.7. Nobody. That's insane.
Kaiser, that can't be correct because Andy Dalton told us that he believes he's a starter in this league. He believes that he can start on 30 other teams in this league, man. So that can't be correct. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. So Andy Dalton, I'll give him this. I've always felt like he's been a pretty good thrower of the football. In fact, he came in the same time Cam Newton did, and a lot of people felt like he was a better passer than Cam Newton was. And I actually wouldn't argue that too much. He was more accurate, better thrower of the football. It's just that Cam Newton was better at literally everything else. Right. But I think as far as a backup QB goes, Andy Dalton's fine. I think he's fine. He's older. He hadn't taken a lot of punishment. I think he's fine.
I put it to you like this, man. On paper, it doesn't get much better than Andy Dalton as a backup quarterback on paper. And look, I will give him the benefit of the doubt today. Andy Dalton's in his, the 12th year, the 11th, 12th year, something like that.
Right.
Let's not discredit the fact that, these veterans mail it in preseason, man. Even back up. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm having a little technical difficulty. Sorry, y'all. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just kind of say, this is preseason. Doesn't mean much to him. He knows he's not going to shut up. He knows he's not going to start. You know what I mean? But hopefully we don't see him in the regular season. But if we have to, man, I think he'll be at least serviceable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we don't have to see him. If we do have to see him, then just the season's over. I'm just gonna talk about Hornet shit. If Bryce Young gets hurt, because not only would Bryce Young be hurt, that's bad, but then we're gonna have all of the people who told you he was too small, told you
right.
We'll see. Okay, all right. You got offensive. Yeah.
Do you take anything from that Giants game? Because it was very hard for me to take anything away from that game, to tell you the honest to God truth.
No, absolutely not. I will say I thought that they played with better effort than they did.
Yeah.
The first game, which was what we said on
which was all we wanted, right?
Right. Yeah. Just play with better effort, and I think that they did. I took about as much as that as I've taken from any preseason game in Panthers history. I can't even tell you their preseason record last year. Did they win any preseason? I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't. Somebody actually asked me that, and I was like, I don't know. And they was like, man, you run a podcast. You don't know the Panthers preseason? Like, no, the hell I don't. So
yeah, because they don't count. They don't. Yeah, like I said, they don't count. They matter a little bit though, because it gives us a good chance to see what our depth looks like. That's the whole point of one of the points of preseason. Having said that, our depth, I think, is kind of I don't know about all that.
Right.
You got any offensive MVPs for this game?
Bryce Young.
Okay.
I'll keep it real simple, man. I'll go Bryce Young. Just for everything we've already said, man. Just his pocket presence, how calm he looked, his quarterback rating. That tells the story. That tells the entire story between the other two quarterbacks, man. So I'll keep it simple with Bryce Young as the offensive MVP. Defensive MVP. That's hard, man. I don't know, dude. So first time you might have to come back to me on that.
Keith Taylor has been getting a lot of snaps in preseason.
Yeah,
which is weird because he was not good last year, but he's gotten a lot of snaps. He's played pretty well in coverage. I don't know. Ace Ely had a sack. Who else had a sack? Chandler Wooten had a sack.
JG, don't start that today. I do not want to hear any more about DJ Moore. I don't want to hear it. That good for him.
Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, real talk. Would you rather have DJ Moore and Andy Dalton as a starter, or Bryce Young and our receiver by committee? This is not a facetious question. This is an honest question to everybody.
Man, and it's the easy answer from me. It's Bryce Young, because I am sick and tired of the quarterback carousel that went on for 10 years.
Absolutely. I mean, you gotta.
I'm ready to get off the damn hamster wheel with these quarterbacks that we had. So yeah,
the Panthers had to do something drastic. We knew they needed that number one pick to do it, and they had to trade DJ Moore. And I hate to see DJ Moore go because I really like DJ Moore as a Panther. I thought he was really good. And
I wish him all the best, and I wish he was still here, man. But we had, like you said, we had to do something desperate.
Had to do something. I think Bryce Young is going to be. I mean, at worst, he'll be solid. At worst, he'll be better than Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater. Who else was throwing the ball after Cam left?
You, me, Vinny Testaverde, whoever, man. Yeah, man.
All right, so the season opener is, like we said, a very big one against the Atlanta Falcons. So they start the season against the Falcons, Saints, and Seahawks. None of those are easy games. That's a tough. In fact, Falcons, Saints, Seahawks, Vikings, the first 4 weeks of the season, which are very important because I feel like by week 5 you kind of know
who you are,
right? Yeah. You know if you're good or bad, right? That's tough. Panthers could straight up go 0-4 in that spot, especially since they have to travel to Seattle, which it's been a house of horrors for them forever. I don't know. Let's keep it down to week 1 in Atlanta. How do you think the Panthers do?
I'm going to make a confession, Kaza. It's hard for me to not be just a straight up fan. Let me say this, dude. We can't listen. Y'all look at me. We cannot get beat by the Falcons game 1. Just know, if you don't win another game this season, don't let the Falcons beat you game 1. For my sanity, for the sake of this podcast, for the sake of Danny Thompson, no, just no. I'm picking us to win, damn it, because we got to.
So,
and listen, and this is my sort of serious answer when it comes to this. You know, it's preseason, but you don't have a lot of positive momentum, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is prime time. This is time for you to prove to your fans and prove to your coaches and prove to the city that, yes, we are ready, okay? Yes, this is the real deal. This is real football. We're not experimenting anymore, okay? So with that being said, man, I'm going to cautiously pick us to win because I don't – and on top of all of that, I don't think Atlanta's that – I think Atlanta's they're not going to be that much better than us if they even are going to be better at all. So I'll pick us to win. And if I had to put a score on it, man, I'm going to think it's a little high scoring. I'm going 35-28.
Okay, so Atlanta has the home. They are favored just because they're the home team. They're favored by 3.5 points, which is generally the spread that you give the home team in the NFL. So, and even the ESPN predictor sees it as pretty much a coin flip game.
Yeah.
Having said that, if the expectation for Bryce Young to win his very first for real no shit NFL game
is going to be pretty high.
Would be pretty high. I would expect him to make some mistakes. Also, with the defense switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4, there's going to be some kinks they got to work out. There's going to be some growing pains with that. They're just not going to instantly be. If you recall, Ron Rivera's last season, they switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Didn't do too good. So, I'm
wonder who thought it was a good idea to switch it this time, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm actually going to pick the Panthers to lose this one.
God, don't do this to me, man. Come on, man.
I'm going to give Atlanta the 3 points. 2017 Falcons. I'm sorry.
Breaking my heart, man. No.
I'm sorry, man. I
can't take this.
If Bryce Young has an incredible game, if he has like a Cam Newton first game in the NFL game, then the Panthers are going to win.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to have that. He's going to have a solid performance, and I really think the defense is going to screw it up somehow. I think the defense is going to let us down somehow. If the Panthers are at home, I'd pick them, but they're on the road. I don't know.
Let me say that I hear you, and let me. I want to voice my main concern for this game, man. Falcons got a hot shot rookie running back, Bijan Robinson. They're expecting a lot out of him. They're expecting a lot out of their running game this year, and with that on top of our concerns with this 3-4 defense, that scares me. I'm not gonna lie
Yeah.
to you, bro. That scares me. And if we do lose this game, I 100% agree with you. That would be the reason why. However, I'm sorry, man. I gotta be fan. I gotta be fan today. I gotta be Jamal the fan today. And I just my mood can't take us losing to the Falcons game one. JG, you do bring up a good point. If anybody will give us the damn game, it would be Desmond Ritter. So let's hopefully
That's true.
count
That's
on
true.
that.
I expect Bryce Young to play better than Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a road game. And
Well, okay. Let me ask you a quick question, and I don't know the answer to this question, man. There's a possibility that me and some of my friends may roll down there for the game. You think Panthers Nation is going to be deep down there, man? Do you have any idea how that might look?
actually, yeah. Bryce Young has brought a little bit of excitement to the Panthers. He's the new toy, right? So everyone wants to see the new toy. People are already getting behind him. Saw a lot of people at the game Friday with Bryce Young jerseys. I think people are ready, and Panthers Nation might roll down to Atlanta in force, to support the team. Yeah. Having said that, I mean, it's a road game is a road game. You still have to deal with potential crowd noise, referees, things of that nature. And like Willie Smith said, we got to be able to stop the run. You think that the Falcons aren't going to try and showcase their new toy against a team that has been much maligned against the run for the past 3 or 4 seasons?
Right.
I expect that to be the Falcons' game plan because they know that Desmond Ritter can't beat the Carolina defense, but maybe this guy can run all over them.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Panthers lose games in the last 2 seasons because they couldn't stop the run.
I'll say this, man. I think if the Falcons, their best chance to win this game against us is to out scheme us. You know what I mean? Like I think coaching is going to be very important on their part to try to make it easier on Ritter. Because if we just pin our ears back and go after Ritter all game, that's not going to bode well for the Falcons. But if they can find a way to get that ground game going, man, we may be in trouble.
I mean, I think this is actually our chance to see what the coaching staff is made of. Are they going to get cute? Or are they going to go simple? Make Desmond Ritter beat you. That should be the game plan, right?
Absolutely.
Stop the run and then say, okay, Desmond Ritter, we dare you to go downfield against J.C. Horn and Jeremy Chin, and then see how that works out. Or are they going to try and get cute? Like Frank Reich, he seems like the kind of guy like he might, with these complex playbooks and schemes,
he may outthink himself.
Exactly. He may outsmart himself and cost us here. This will be, this is the most interesting game of the season. I know it's silly to say that because it's the first game of the season, but it really sets the tone, and it's going to let us really see and evaluate where the Carolina Panthers stand more than these preseason games have. So, so that's my pick. 2017 Falcons. I think we do get them back in week 15, though. Saints game, I don't know. Too early to tell.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's get through this first one first, man.
Let's get through this first one.
Yeah, man.
All right. On to the other team. We have another professional sports team in Charlotte, North Carolina. They go by the name of the Charlotte Hornets. No longer Michael Jordan Charlotte Hornets. So no blaming him for the latest news. PJ Washington.
Or praising him. Well, however you want to look at it.
No, yeah. PJ Washington being re-signed. Now, the last time you guys saw us, the news was that PJ Washington had taken the qualifying offer, which would allow him to be a unrestricted free agent last year. There was a lot of debate about what that meant, and we felt that meant that PJ Washington, did not want to be with the team. He wanted to test his market value, and his market value just wasn't there in restricted free agency. The rumor was that PJ Washington wanted around $20 million. We felt that he was in the 15 to 17 range.
Right.
He tested restricted free agency. Apparently, he didn't get any offers. We don't know what the details were. He took the qualifying offer, probably like sour grapes kind of thing.
Yep.
But either he came to his senses or he realized what the market was, and he signed for $16 million a year. The whole deal is 3 years, $48 million, which is interesting. It's only a 3-year deal. So, is this a good thing for the Hornets? Are we good on this?
I think it's a great thing. I think both parties should be ecstatic. And I think the Hornets should be ecstatic because this is a very team-friendly deal. It's not gonna cap strap them. It's not gonna put them in salary cap hell. It's a very tradable contract if they go that route within the next 3 years. You understand what I mean? Like we said, like we've banged this drum for maybe the last month. The market told him what he was worth. The initial reports were Washington and the Hornets were way off, which I don't see how. You understand what I'm saying? PJ probably went out and tried to get his money somewhere else, and nobody else offered him what he wanted. So the market told him what he wanted, and the Hornets signed him at market rate. I don't know what else the Hornets could ask for. You understand what I'm saying? And this also completes, it does. It completes the objective that Mitch Kupchak ultimately wanted this offseason, which was he wanted to keep most of our guys. We kept most of our guys. And you look at the deals that everybody signed, I don't know how anybody can have a problem with the numbers that our guys got. Now, the Miles Bridges situation, there's obviously some nuance and some context that we've already discussed with that contract. But with the PJ Washington contract, to me, it's perfect in my opinion. It's perfect, and it was necessary. Now, Kaza, if this did not get done for some reason, let me ask you this question again, and let me make your blood pressure raise up again. If this didn't get done, were you prepared to see JT Thor get heavy minutes as a rotation guy? Were we prepared for that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have wanted it to have to come to that.
I'll leave it at that. So that alone makes this a very necessary re-signing, and I'm very happy that the Hornets got it done. 3 years is, to me, it's kind of inconsequential. You know what I mean? If it was 4 or 5, I would have been good with that. But three is cool as well. It's what PJ ultimately deserved, and I'm glad they ultimately got this done.
Right. I feel the same way. This, you don't really want this kind of stuff.
Oh.
You don't want this kind of stuff hanging over the team in the locker room during such a pivotal season. You just really don't. I'm glad they got out of the way. We don't have to worry about it. PJ can go back to flashing money and Instagram models, and we don't have to worry about JT Thor stealing his minutes. So I think this was a good thing for the Charlotte Hornets, and I also think that it helps the Hornets immensely coming up the next season with the Miles Bridges situation. Because Miles Bridges will be a restricted free agent because he did take the qualifying offer. He's going to play on 1 year on that offer, and then he's going to probably shoot for max. So now that we've already re-signed PJ, we've got cap space for that next year if we want to make an offer to Miles Bridges. So this all works out.
And not only that, man, I mean, it could be a bit of insurance. And this is not me saying PJ Washington is as good as Miles Bridges. That's not what I'm saying. But, if it came down to us losing Miles Bridges, I would rather us to have PJ Washington instead of potentially losing both players next season. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So at the very least, we have him locked up next season, just in case. And just in case to see what happens with Miles Bridges if he decides to leave. So it makes it that much more important.
Hey, man, you know who doesn't have a team right now?
Kelly Oubre?
Kelly Oubre Jr.
What is going on? Dude, I don't understand. I don't. I really don't.
Kelly Oubre averaged 20 and 5 last season. 20 points, 5 rebounds, and a steal and a half, roughly 32 minutes a game. I don't understand. I don't get it.
So I saw a report out there, and which was weird to me. I don't really understand the correlation, but I saw a report out there that was saying that Miami could be interested if they were to sign potentially gain Dame Lillard in a trade. I don't know what the correlation between Dame Lillard and Kelly Oubre is, but whatever. So the report was if they can somehow land Lillard, they would then be interested in Kelly Oubre. But even with that being said, I don't know why it's taking so long for any team to jump on Kelly Oubre. Now,
I'm really.
I said this in the previous pod, man. I think what may have happened with Kelly Oubre, and this is just me kind of guessing. I don't know this for sure. There was a report earlier in the offseason where the Pacers were interested in Kelly Oubre. But I think what happened is that Bruce Brown became available, and then they signed Bruce Brown, and they no longer had a need for Kelly Oubre. That may have messed up Oubre's entire market. And this is me just guessing. But even with that being said, you would think somebody would have jumped on Oubre at this point, man.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. And with the PJ Washington deal being done, I don't see why you wouldn't sign Kelly Oubre. They have the cap space to do so.
Right.
I mean, I'm unless he's asking for too much. I could see a scenario in which Kelly Oubre's agent says, "Look, man, when he played as a starter last season for Charlotte, he was their leading scorer."
Absolutely.
So, $1 million a point, right? That's what we always say, $1 million a point. And so he scored 20 a game. Give me $20 million. Kelly Oubre would be a tough sell for $20 million. And I really like Kelly Oubre. Actually, I agree. Actually, I kind of agree with Frazier here. The Lakers, it wouldn't shock me if the Lakers made a move for Kelly Oubre Jr.
It would never shock me if the Lakers made a move for any player that can average over 50 points a game. You always got to watch out for the damn Lakers. But no, I mean, I get it, man. But Chris makes also a good point. Yeah. This is something we talked about. If we were to sign Kelly Oubre, what does that mean? Look, I guess the thought process is, what would it mean for Brandon Miller? But I've always said, what would it mean for Cody Martin? You understand what I mean? Because Brandon Miller is going to get his minutes. Trust and believe that. He may not start, but they are not going to bury Brandon Miller on the bench. I will bet my house on that. You understand? So my thing is, what would it mean for Cody Martin if Oubre were to be resigned? Because again, they just paid Martin $12 million a year or whatever it was. Okay, so if you bring back Oubre, you now have more of a logjam at the 2 and 3 position. Everybody can't play 20 minutes a game. So what would that mean for Cody Martin? It's a complicated situation that I don't have an answer to.
Why won't Jordan just spend more money? He's so cheap.
I mean, there's no such thing as a salary cap. This man just paid a dude.
Yeah. Man. Oh, that's right. No, that's right. My bad. I forgot. You're not even. Yeah. Jordan playing golf. Yeah, I don't know. Those are all good points, and they probably are the main reason why Charlotte is not looking to re-sign Kelly Oubre. But I just felt like at some point you have to look at it. We still need veteran presence on this team. You got a guy who wants to be here. Who has played well for us.
Yeah.
Why not take a gamble? Now, if his asking price is too high, that I could understand, but of course we don't know.
I mean, look. Joshua says Gordon is going to be hurt by week 3, which is a possibility, but I don't think the Hornets are operating like that. I don't think they're operating in the sense of, well, we know Gordon Hayward's going to be hurt, so we have to have depth at 3. I mean, it's a good point, but again, I just don't think that's their thinking. You understand what I mean? But
I mean, if Gordon Hayward gets hurt, then it's all Brandon Miller all the time.
It's all Brandon Miller anyway. Exactly, man. I mean, Kelly Oubre would make the Hornets a very deep team. Let's be clear. We would be a super deep team. But again, you don't know what's going to happen with some of your younger guys like Book Knight and McGowan's and Cody Martin. So that presents a problem in itself.
I agree. Question.
Yeah.
Should LaMelo Ball have played in the Men's World Basketball Cup?
Absolutely. And I was wondering why he didn't. I've been
Yeah,
watching. I've been keeping a close eye on that, and I've been wondering the whole time. Well, like, why is he not out there?
I think a lot of people wanted to see. Now, granted, and he was offered a spot on the select team in 2021, but he turned it down because of his wrist injury. He wanted to rehab his wrist. That's understandable. But this season, I think I know he had his ankle problems during the regular season. Hopefully, they're fine now. Maybe he's thinking about that. But watching Anthony Edwards, who, by the way, is an outstanding player and is worthy of the number one pick. But watching him get all of these accolades for what he's done for Team USA, don't that kind of sting a little bit if you're LaMelo Ball?
It does because I want that for us. I want that profile for the Charlotte Hornets.
I mean, our guy got Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah, right.
I remember he got Rookie of the Year. So,
hello. Let's be fair and objective. You know, Anthony Edwards' team was, well, hell, they didn't do anything different than the Hornets. They got beaten the playing game just like we did. You know what I mean? But I guess the Timberwolves are in a little bit of better position, which makes and I think the LaMelo injuries have hurt his stock and his profile quite a bit in the public eye. I think if LaMelo at least plays, I don't know, 70 games the last two seasons each, then he's probably in the same position as Anthony Edwards. So
I think, and also, I mean, Anthony Edwards made an All-Star game last season. LaMelo Ball didn't make it due to it. I mean, he was injured. He wasn't even playing at that point. And you know, sports fans in general are very, what have you done for me lately? Like recency bias is a real thing.
Absolutely.
And this is the most recent thing. You know, Anthony Edwards is the recent thing. But it's just that some of the narratives that people were making for Anthony Edwards after that game in which he had 38 points was like, yo, this is the future face of the NBA. And it's like, hold up, man. What about our guy?
Like, our guy's not trash. Like, come on, man. Like, right.
You're basing that on a game in an international World Cup. I thought that was a little.
But I'm going to try my best to not go on a tangent here. But that makes this season much more of a redemption season for everybody on this team. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Everybody has jumped off the Hornets boat. The fans, the media, everybody. You understand what I mean? LaMelo, obviously being the face of the franchise, I think he has as much to prove as everybody else on the team, probably more to prove than anybody. So I want to see how him and the rest of this team approaches next season, and do they think of it as, hey man, we need to redeem ourselves. Everybody's off our boat. We need to show everybody we're not as bad as everybody says we are. And I'm just wondering, does he have that in the back of his head going into next season, man?
And he's got to. I think you have to. If you're the Charlotte Hornets, you know, his story, Miles Bridges. Oh boy, Miles Bridges this is literally make or break for him. If he doesn't have a good season now, he will be broke after this season. You know, he's got to ball out. The Hornets have to get back to where people thought they would be after LaMelo's second season. Yeah. And this last season, we've said this before, all the injuries might have been a blessing in disguise. You know, it allowed a team that wasn't that bad to be bad enough to get the number 2 pick. You know, Brandon Miller's got to come out and prove that he was the correct pick.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of. I want to just see bags of chips on people's shoulders.
Absolutely.
I need these guys to go out and prove that they are as good as they say that they are.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Hey, man. Here's one question. Not one question, but here's one topic that we have not talked about, and I think we probably haven't talked about it because we want to forget it. The Frank Ntilikina signing. Yuck. That's my word for that signing.
I don't understand
it, bro.
That I just don't understand it. I guess I don't understand. Well, first of all, we're already so guard heavy, right?
But look, to be fair, we needed a point. We did need a point guard, backup point guard. That's what we needed. However, what makes this hard to understand, John Wall was out there working out for teams, showcasing that he still has it. Kemba Walker is in Europe, and Frank Ntilikina is still. That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I don't care if Kemba Walker's 38 years old. I'll take that dude over Frank Ntilikina.
I mean, you got a point guard who he can't shoot.
He can defend pretty well, but not.
Maybe they were looking for a DSJ replacement. I will say this, though, and I've said this on the show before. The Hornets are getting away from – they are tired of small players. Frank Ntilikina is, what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, big. He's not a small guy, right?
Yeah, Terry Rozier is the smallest person on the team. He's 6'2", and there's nobody else on the team under 6'4". I think that had a lot to do with it.
Look, I know the Hornets have had some reclamation projects in the past. Some of them worked out, some of them didn't work out, right? Frank Ntilikina, man, I don't know how you work this one out. He's been in the NBA long enough to know what he is and who he is at this point, all right? I don't know if the guy's going to learn how to shoot magically in the offseason. To be fair, the contract is unguaranteed, so they can cut him at any time without having to pay him. You understand? Here's my question. Here's what I'll be paying close attention to going into the season. Everybody looks at Nick Smith as more of a combo guard than a quote unquote real point guard. I just wonder at some point, is Clifford going to say, you know what? I think Nick Smith fits better as our backup point guard. We will risk having him as a backup point guard more than we value Frank Ntilikina as backup point.
I'd rather gamble on the potential of Nick Smith than with Frank, who this will be his 7th season in the league, 6th or 7th.
Right.
You know what you have in him. He was a lottery pick. He just didn't pan out because for a lot of different reasons. So I don't understand why exactly. I know. I brings V back. Yeah. I don't.
He signed overseas, so that's not happening.
This signing was. Do you think he actually plays for us?
It's a possibility he doesn't. I mean, because I think that unguaranteed contract was telling. You understand?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That to me that says you were our last option. We signed you because we didn't have any other options. That's what that tells me. But again, there's still some guys out there that I would take over him.
Let me ask you this: are there any guys you would take over him?
John Wall, yes, but
that were 6'4".
John Wall.
John Wall's about 6'4". I'll take John Wall. Yeah.
I'll
take old John Wall
over Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah.
But John Wall is DSJ like. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe not as athletic as he used to be. You understand? And Frazier, that's a good question. We don't know what John Wall's demands are. He probably.
That's true. I thought, yeah.
He probably wants to go play for a contender at this point in his career. I know the Houston experiment just probably drained the shit out of John Wall. He's probably done with rebuilding or whatever tag you want to use franchises. So he probably wants to play for a contender, man. If he doesn't find one, if I'm Mitch, I pick up the phone and I'm asking him, hey, come home to North Carolina,
man. I think size be damned. We're only talking about a backup point guard here.
Right.
But Frank only signs for what, $2 million?
If that. I mean, it was pennies.
That probably had a lot to do with it.
And again, I don't think we can discount that Nick Smith Jr. may go into the season as the backup point guard. We don't know. Yeah. That may be the case. Yeah.
I think training camp and then preseason are going to be just so huge for the Hornets as far as depth goes. We gotta shake out who's doing what. This logjam at the guard. We got to figure all this out. It wouldn't surprise me if Frank didn't make the preseason cuts.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if James Bouknight makes it to All-Star break without being traded either, because we got to figure this out, man. So.
Package him and Gordon Hayward up.
Hey, get what you can.
I think you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. All right. Well, Hornets, well, congratulations, PJ Washington, for getting that money. Now, don't be one of those dudes that signs a contract and then uh, just falls off the face of the damn planet like
I,
Nick
I,
Batum
I,
did.
I well, I just don't want to see any more baby announcements for the next year at least. You know, PJ have a baby on you in a minute. Let's just try to chill out at least for the next 2 years, bro.
Absolutely true. Culture topic.
All right.
Charlotte stuff.
Okay. What we got?
There've been a lot of good music, especially for hip hop fans here recently.
Right.
There was the Gene Brown beat battle, which I gotta go to one of those.
You do, man. You missed out on the good.
I miss everyone. A lot of few concerts, people coming to Charlotte and whatnot. But I thought about something. Now I'm an old head, right? You guys see the gray hair. But where do artists in Charlotte go for expression outside of doing shows? If you remember 15 years ago, if you were an MC, you could go to the Graduate, you could go to the Buggy Shop, you could go to there were like all these different places.
Monday night Mike fight,
Snug Harbor. If you were B-boy, you could go to Snoop Dogg, whatever. If you were DJ, a lot of different places you could go. Charlotte doesn't have any more places like that. And it's funny. Last week, Jamal and I were at the Summit in Mount Holly. Don't come to our spot, by the way. But on Wednesdays, they do Wu-Tang Wednesdays, and our buddy Justin Aswell, one of the better DJs in Charlotte, spends pretty much old school hip hop all night, and everyone's chilling and having a good time. And we were joking like, how weird is that you have to go to downtown Mount Holly,
right,
to hear this? So my question is, because maybe I'm just old and out of touch, is where do artists in Charlotte go to express themselves, or is that done? Is that gone?
No, it's not done. This is actually a very timely question you're asking, because just yesterday, I don't know if you're familiar with Ja Freedom. Ja Freedom is Ja Freedom. For those who don't know, man, he's a producer, promoter. What else does Ja do? Ja does a little bit of everything, man. Producer, promoter, event planner. He does a lot of stuff. However, with all that being said, he actually just created an event for Charlotte artists to just come hang out, just come vibe out, hang out. You can play your music, you can perform your music, you can showcase your music however you want to. That is actually going on today. It's not. There's a venue called Starlight at 22, I believe it's called, where he's doing a lot of these events now, man, and it's actually going on tonight. I'm so sorry I don't know the exact name of the event. I wish I had it on hand right now. But he is letting artists kind of come express themselves artistically however they feel free to, man. So I think that's really, really dope, man.
Dope. I'm gonna have to go check it out. Sit in the back like an old head.
Yeah,
just
the old grizzled vet. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't ask me to rap or nothing. Just please, just let me die in peace.
Let me drink beer.
All right, that's dope. That's good to know, man. We're gonna have to talk to Jean. Maybe get him on the show. We haven't had a guest on here in a while, because I do worry about the state of art here in Charlotte. Of all the talk about Charlotte, like our identity as a city is that we have no identity as a city. Like our culture is we don't have culture. We're just cultureless. But I do feel like the arts in Charlotte have been very underrated. In fact, I mean, look at all of the famous musicians that have come out of Charlotte in the last 20 years or so that don't get any recognition because they're from Charlotte. Right.
Yeah.
So
now, I know this is surprising coming from me, but I'll add some positivity to that. I don't think it'll ever really die, man, because the people we know, Kaza, the guys that have always kind of kept it alive, the guys like Ja Freedom, the guys like Eric Brayman, the guys like Mike Kitchen, I can go on and on. We know all these guys, man. it's kind of in us. It's like we're never going to really let it go away. You understand what I'm saying? It may get stale. It may not be seen for a few years, but it's never really going to go away, man. So, and again, going back to what Josh's doing, man, I think it's right on time because right when you're kind of bringing this up, I had the same concern. Like, where is our culture going in Charlotte? Like, to JG's point, I don't want Charlotte to just be damn breweries on every damn corner, man. I want Charlotte to have the same soul that it had 15 years ago. And, you know, props to John, whoever else is trying to keep it alive, man.
Absolutely. Speaking of QT, I guess that'll lead me to my shot outs. Someone got shot at the QT by my house over on Mount Holly, Huntersville Road. Yep. What are we doing, Charlotte?
What the hell are y'all doing?
What's going on? And that also reminds me, North Lake. I went to North Lake a few weeks ago, the mall, and it looks like it's on its death row. Yeah. And this is what I hate most about it, and I hate this. What do you see in malls right before they die? You start to see more Black-owned stores because the lease pricing is much cheaper, and now Black-owned business or black business owners can now have a space to move in, and have their own business. Unfortunately, that means that mall is probably on its way out. And yes, Eastland Part 2, it felt like Eastland felt right before Eastland died. That's how North Lake Mall feels. And it just sucks. It's terrible because I just don't know where. I mean, I understand malls in general are kind of like, whatever. Most people order stuff online, but it's North Lake didn't like go out because people stopped going to malls. North Lake did that because, I mean, you might get shot in North Lake. We joke about it, but it's kind of true. And it's really sad. I really hate that for this side of town in general, and in North Lake in general. So
yeah.
Also, we didn't get a chance to get to this last week. We didn't do a show, but RIP to the bull that was just running around West Charlotte.
The West Side Bull is gone, man. Dog.
They killed him.
Yesterday too, man.
Yeah, they have to kill him.
They had to kill the bull.
Yeah,
come on, man. So, they could have put him in the trailer, man, and let him go back to wherever. Man.
Exactly. They could let that man run free in the wilderness, but
yeah, man.
What color the bull was too. That's why they shot him.
That's not supposed to be funny, but I'm sorry.
The bull was in Valentine. They would have shot him.
If it was the Valentine bull. Oh man. Hey, okay. My shout out goes to Joy Reid, who is a political pundit. I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but I would just urge everybody to look up Trump's mugshot is justice, is karma. I think karma or justice.
I think it said justice, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was justice, man. But it was just a beautiful kind of oratory of the situation that Joy Reid kind of gave to us today or yesterday, man. And I'll just keep it at that, man. It was beautifully said, and I urge everybody to go look at that either on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. So I'll keep it there.
Will do.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Hey, man.
That was a good show. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, man. Next week we'll probably take a break. Y'all go enjoy Labor Day, eat all the meat, drink all the beer and stuff, and we'll be back first game of the season, man. Hopefully we're not about the Panthers lost like Kaza is predicting. But we'll see, man. I can't wait to see y'all when the real thing starts, man. Hey, look, either way, whatever happens, dude, football is back, and I am excited. So.
This is, if you are a Charlotte sports fan, this has to feel like one of the most exciting seasons in a long time. The Panthers and the Hornets have potential to put themselves back on the map. So
yeah, and hopefully people like Prillard, who's a Falcons fan, he'll go into hiding in a couple of weeks and we kick their ass. Hopefully that'll happen. So,
Danny Thompson, I will say, I would love to be proved wrong on my prediction. We're going to hit Danny up.
No doubt. Absolutely. Hey, man, real quick shout out to everybody who tuned in today, man. My boy Fraser, man, Prahlad, JG, who am I forgetting? Blah, blah, blah. Austin, Willie, Chris, everybody, Josh, everybody who tuned in, man. Thank y'all for tuning in today, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good week. We'll see y'all later. Be safe out there. Don't go to Northlake.
Peace.